Saladin. The name evokes images of a noble warrior, a righteous leader, who vanquished the Crusaders and liberated Jerusalem in 1187. He is often portrayed as the epitome of Islamic chivalry, a stark contrast to the brutality associated with his adversaries. But this romanticized portrait, etched in both Western and Eastern minds, obscures a far more complex figure. Was Saladin truly the benevolent sultan of popular imagination, or a shrewd political operator, whose piety served a grander strategic vision? We must delve beyond the legend to understand the man who reshaped the medieval world. Saladin, or Salah al-Din Yusuf ibn Ayyub, emerged not from Arabia, but from Tikrit, north of Baghdad, in present-day Iraq. His Kurdish heritage, often overshadowed, profoundly shaped his early life. The Ayyubid family, of Rawatid Kurdish origin, was deeply embedded within the Seljuk military structure. Saladin's father, Najm ad-Din Ayyub, served as a military governor under Imad ad-Din Zengi, a powerful Turkish atabeg. This immersed young Saladin in military strategy, courtly intrigue, and the Seljuk Empire's complex political landscape. He witnessed firsthand the dynamics of power, the fragility of alliances, and the importance of military strength. These formative years, spent in the shadow of figures like Zengi and Nur ad-Din, were crucial, forging his ambition and shaping his understanding of leadership through pragmatic political calculation, not solely religious zeal. Forged in conflict, Saladin's ambition wasn't merely religious fervor, it was shaped by pragmatic political calculation. He witnessed how internal strife corroded strength, leaving the Muslim world vulnerable to Crusader states. This fueled his desire to forge a unified Muslim front. Saladin understood that military victories alone wouldn't suffice. Lasting power demanded political cohesion. His initial strategy: consolidate control over Egypt, a strategically vital region overflowing with resources. Uniting the disparate factions, from the Zengid dynasty in Syria to emirs across Mesopotamia, required more than brute force. Saladin employed a calculated blend of diplomacy, strategic alliances, and decisive military pressure. He skillfully exploited rivalries, offering concessions to some while subduing others. His strategic marriage to Ismat ad-Din Khatun, the widow of Nur ad-Din, solidified his legitimacy and weakened Zengid claims. Overcoming logistical nightmares, particularly during his Syrian campaigns, demanded meticulous planning and resource management. Through these maneuvers, Saladin transformed from a regional power into the leader of a formidable force. Military dominance demanded more than unified territories. Saladin's genius shone in his adaptation to the Crusader battlefield, understanding their strengths and exploiting their weaknesses. He recognized the Crusaders' reliance on heavily armored knights, a strength-turned liability under the sun, and their vulnerability to heat and thirst. The Battle of Hattin in 1187 exemplifies this. Saladin lured the Crusader army into the arid hills, harassing them with archers and setting fire to the dry brush. Exhausted, dehydrated, and desperate, the Crusader forces, led by Guy of Lusignan, were decisively defeated. Hattin wasn't fortune, it was the culmination of meticulous planning. Saladin had painstakingly scouted the terrain, stockpiled water, and drilled his troops in desert warfare. He understood logistics, ensuring his army was well supplied while denying resources to the enemy. His light cavalry, composed of skilled archers and horsemen, proved devastatingly effective against the heavier Crusader knights. He employed feigned retreats to draw the Crusaders into ambushes. Moreover, Saladin grasped the psychological aspect of warfare. He cultivated a reputation for piety and justice, contrasting the perceived brutality of the Crusaders. This earned him local support, providing intelligence and resources. His victory at Hattin and the capture of Jerusalem were testaments to his strategic brilliance and his understanding of the region's complex political and social landscape. Jerusalem, 1187. Not a sack of vengeance, but a negotiated surrender. Saladin, unlike the Crusaders of 1099, largely spared the city's Christian inhabitants. Ransom was demanded, but those unable to pay were permitted to leave. This clemency wasn't purely altruistic. Saladin understood the diplomatic implications. Allowing a peaceful departure averted a siege and preserved Jerusalem's infrastructure. More crucially, it projected Saladin's image as a just ruler, a counterpoint to the Crusaders' grim reputation. News of Saladin's actions spread across Europe, influencing the call for the Third Crusade. While some lauded his chivalry, others saw it as weakness, fueling a renewed determination to reclaim Jerusalem. The seeds of future conflict, sown in victory, were linked to diplomacy and religious fervor. Saladin, lauded as a noble adversary in the West, wasn't always viewed favorably. Early Crusader chronicles demonized him, portraying a ruthless enemy. Yet, even then, respect for his military prowess permeated accounts like Ambrose's L'Histoire de la Guerre Sainte. In the East, Ibn Jubayr, while admiring Saladin's piety, criticized his heavy taxation. Bahar ad-Din, Saladin's advisor, presented a hagiographic account, shaping the narrative of a divinely guided leader. Saladin's enduring legacy stems from his ability to unite a fractured Muslim world and reclaim Jerusalem, tempered with acts of mercy. His image, meticulously crafted, continues to inspire and provoke debate. Saladin, synonymous with fierce warrior and benevolent ruler, defies simple categorization. His Kurdish origins provided a unique perspective on the fractured political landscape. The victory at Hattin shattered Crusader dominance, paving the way for Jerusalem's recapture. But Saladin was not merely a conqueror. His calculated clemency towards the city's inhabitants, contrasting the Crusaders' earlier brutality, cemented his image. He was a master of propaganda, but also a pragmatic leader who understood power's nuances. Understanding Saladin requires moving beyond simplistic narratives, embracing the complexities of a man who shaped an era. His lasting impact lies not just in military victories, but in forging a unified Islamic identity that resonates even today. Considering the complex tapestry of fact and legend woven around Saladin, how do we reconcile the romanticized image of the chivalrous knight with the pragmatic political strategist who reshaped the medieval world?